Hi guys, this is Mrs. Young. I am going to be doing each question from the review so you'll know exactly what the answers are and exactly how to solve them. So let's start with number 1. It says 3/8 of the students in school ride the bus. What percent does not? So we have a fraction, we're going to be going from a fraction to a percent. In order to go from a fraction to a percent, we have to change to a decimal first. But we are looking at, it says 3/8 of the students ride the bus. We need to find what percent does not. So if there's a total of 8 that ride the bus and every 3 of them do not, I need to take how many out of 8 do not ride the bus, And if I take 8 minus 3, that is going to give me 5. So I have 5/8 do not ride the bus. So I'm going to be taking 5/8, changing that to a decimal. So let's start with 5/8. And we're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So 5 divided by 8, cannot do that. Add a decimal and a 0. 8 goes into 50. We're going to do that 6 times, minus 48. Then you're going to have 2, add a 0. 8 goes into 20. 2 times, minus 16. Add another 0. 8 goes into 40. 5 times, minus 40 is 0. So we have 625 thousandths. So now we need to take our decimal and change it to a percent. So we take 625 thousandths times 100. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 6 is 0. Then placeholder, 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 6 is 0. 2 placeholders. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 6 is 6. And then we're going to add straight down. 0, 0, 5, 2, 6. I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the question. So I need to have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the answer. And so my percent is 62 5/10%. And if you look at your answer sheet, that is going to be C. Okay, number 2 says, Michaela sleeps 6 hours during every 24-hour period. Which ratio correctly compares the number of hours she sleeps sleeps to the number of hours she is awake? So they want us to write that as a ratio, which is the same thing as a fraction. We're going to write it in the fraction form. So we have her sleeping 6 hours every 24-hour period. Which ratio correctly compares the number of hours that she sleeps, so this is the number she sleeps, to the number she is awake. But 6/24 is not one of my answer choices, so I need to simplify this, and I'm going to divide these both by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So let's see if I can find that in my answers, and that is A, 1/4. Okay, number 3 says Sylvia surveyed her classmates at school to find out who plays sports at her school. The table below shows the number of students that play different sports. 30 play basketball, 60 play soccer, 120 play tennis, and 90 play volleyball. Which of the sports represents 20% or 2/10 of those surveyed? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find the total number so that we can start filling out our percent proportions. So on a percent proportion, let's do the total. So we have 30 plus 60, that's 90. Then we're going to add 120. That's 210 plus 90. So that's going to be 300. So we have 300 total students at her school. So my part is what we're looking for. We don't know the part. because they want to know which one is 20%. So then our whole is a total number of students. We said the total number of students was 300. And then the percent, it's 20%. So if I set that up in a percent proportion, we have my part, which I don't know, over 300 is set up equal to 20%, always, always, always. Percent is always over 100. Okay, and then our first step in our notes says that we are going to multiply the number above or below the missing number. So in that case, it's 300. And that's going to multiply directly diagonal of that number. So 300 times 220. And that is going to be 6,000. Then we're going to divide 6,000 by 100. And that is going to equal 60. So then we need to go over and find out which one had 60 players, and that was soccer. So which sport represents 20%? That is going to be soccer. Okay. Number 4 says, which of the following correctly diagrams 20% or 2/10, 20/100 in a strip diagram? So the way that you need to do this is change this to a fraction in simplest form. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's change our decimal to a fraction. The way we do that is we write that over whatever the place value is. So our place value is 100, so we're going to do 20 over 100, and then we need to simplify that. I'm going to divide that by 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So my simplest form is 5. My 5 tells me that I'm going to split my strip diagram into 5 pieces. And this tells me how much is shaded. So I should have 1 shaded out of 5 pieces. One has 1 shaded out of 3, so that's not it. This one has 1 shaded out of 5, so that could be it. 1 shaded out of 4, and then 2 shaded out of 5. That's 40/100 or 4/10. So our answer is B. Okay, number 5 says Jason has 3 quarters and 1 nickel. What percent of a dollar does he have? First thing we need to make sure we write down is 3 quarters and how much that equals. So if I have 3 quarters, how much money is that? That is 75 cents. So that is decimal 75. Then plus 1 nickel. A nickel is equal to 5 cents. So if I add that together, I will have 80 cents. And I need to change that to a percent. So multiply by 100. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 8 is 0. Placeholder, 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 8 is 0. 2 placeholders. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 8 is 8. Add those together. I have 2 decimal places here, so I have to have 2 decimal places here. So my answer is 80%. And that is going to be C. Okay? And then on the back of that, we have number 6. It says there are 11 girls and 14 boys in Mrs. Smith's fourth grade class, as shown in the model below. And then it shows all the squares with B's, G's all throughout it. Which of these shows the percent of the students that are girls? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to total that up. So we know we have 11 girls and 14 boys. So 11 plus 14 is 25. So I know out of 25 students, sorry, I didn't do that where you can see it. Out of 25 students, they want to know what percent of the student are girls. So I have 11 girls out of 25. And if I change this decimal to I'm going to change this fraction to a decimal. Divide the numerator by the denominator. Cannot do that. At a decimal, at a 0. 25 goes into 110 4 times. I'm sorry, that should be a 4. That should be 100. I have 10 left at a 0. So then I have 4 times minus 100 is 0. So my answer is 44 hundredths. Then I take 44 hundredths and I multiply that times 100. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4. Placeholder. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4. Add them together. I have two decimal places, so I have to have 2 decimal places in my answer. So I have 11 over 25 and 44%. So my answer here, 11 over 25 and 44%. Okay, the next one is number 7. It says, what benchmark decimal is represented by the number line below? So the thing that I would say that you would do is you are going to write this as a fraction initially. You're going to count the number of spaces we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 is going to be my denominator. I have 1 shaded on the top, so that is going to be my numerator. 1 out of 10 places are shaded. Okay, and then it says record your answer once you find the decimal. So I'm going to change 1/10 to a decimal. If you know that the 10th is a place value, like this is your 10th place, and 1 goes there, you can go ahead and that is your decimal. But to show that mathematically, if I divide 1 by 10, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So numerator divided by the denominator. Can't do that. At a decimal, it's 0. 10 goes into 10 one time. Minus 10 is 0. So 1/10. 1/10. So there's my decimal. It says record your answer and fill in the bubbles on the griddable and be sure to use the correct place value. Remember, right here is my decimal, so I need to pay attention to where my decimal is. Over here I have a 0. If you have a 0 and you want to put a 0 to the left of the decimal, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure you bubble in that 0. It will count it. It will kind of flag that one in with a Scantron if you don't at least bubble it in. Then the next one to the right is a 1. So you need to put a 1 next on the right side of the decimal and bubble in the 1. Okay, number 8 says Seth used a school camera to take pictures for the yearbook and for the school paper. Last month, he took 270 pictures for the yearbook and 180 pictures for the school paper with his camera. Which proportion can be used to determine the percentage of the total number of pictures he took that were for the yearbook? So first thing we need to do is we need to write our part, our whole, and our percent. So when we set this up, just like I did a second ago, my part, my whole, my percent. The question is asking, they want to know what the percentage is. So I don't know my percentage. Then it says that he took 270 yearbook and 100 for the school paper. So I know that they were asking what percent of them are for the yearbook. So my part is 270. And then my whole is going to be adding 270 plus 180. So let's do that really quickly. Okay, 0 and 0 is 0. 8 and 7 is 15. And then 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. So 450 is my whole. Okay, so if we set this up in a percent proportion, you should have your part over your whole equals your percent over 100. We don't know the percent. They are using the letter P here, but you can put a question mark if it helps you for right now. And then you're going to put your part, so 270 over 450. Now, just so you know, you can write this either way. You can switch this and put percent over 100 equals your part over your whole. So we need to look for either one of these examples. So either one of these will work, okay? So we have part over 100 equals 270 over 450. That is exactly what this one says, the one right here on the bottom. And then we have part over 100 equals 180 over 450. That is looking for the percent of pictures on our school paper. So that's not the correct one. This one has the whole over the part, so that one is not correct. And then this one has a part over a part, so that one is not correct. So the only logical answer is A for number 8. Okay, then we are going to go to the other side. We have number 9. It says a group of 6th grade students were asked to answer the question, which do you enjoy more, watching TV at home or going to a movie theater to watch a feature film? The rest of the surveys are shown below in the pie graph. If there were 600 6th graders, what number of the 6th graders chose going to theater? Use the gradable below to record your answer. Be sure to pay close attention to the place value. So going to the theater was 30%. They want to know the number that are going to the theater and if there are a total of 600 students. So let's rewrite this. We're going to use this same piece because we're still doing part, whole, percent. Okay, so my part is what we're looking for. They want to know the number of students that chose the theater. And we have our whole, which is 600 total students. Then my percent, I got from the pie graph, which just says there are 30%. Okay, and then we're going to set this up as a percent proportion. So we have our part, which we don't know, over the whole, which is 600, set up equal to 30% over 100. So we're going to multiply the number below the missing number times the number diagonally across from that. So that is 600 times 30. And just to double check myself, I'm going to do this up here. Okay, so 18,000 divided by 100, and that should be 180. Okay, so we're going to write 180 on our gridable. So once again, we have to pay attention. Here's the decimal. So I can't write 180 because that means it's 180 thousandths. My decimal is on the left side. So my decimal would actually be like right here. So I'm going to write 081. So that is like I have 180 students. So make sure I have 1. I go bubble a 1. 8. I go bubble the 8. 0. Then I bubble the 0. You can put zeros back here if you want to, but just make sure you bubble them in. Otherwise, you can just leave it alone. That is perfectly fine, just having that just like that. Okay, the last question says is number 10. I believe that's the last one. Just going to double check. Yeah. Okay, so number 10 says Jacob has 16 toy cars. 3/8 of the cars are red and the rest are blue. How many cars are blue? So we're going to do another percent proportion. No, I lied. We're not going to do percent proportion for this one. Wait, hold on. Jacob has 16 toy cars. 3/8 of the cars are red and the rest are blue. How many? Okay, yeah, we will do a percent proportion. So if I write the number or the fraction 3 out of 8, in order to get my whole, which is 16, I have to multiply this by 2. So this is going to go by 2. So now I have 16, or 6 out of 16 are red. So I have 6 out of 16 are red. Then if I take 6 out of 16 are red, I know that I can subtract this number from this number to get my blue. So 16 minus 6 leaves me with 10. So how many cars are blue? 10 are blue. That was really easy, and that wasn't really kind of exactly how it was taught. But I would definitely just do it that way, to be honest. Okay, so let's see. That answer is going to be B. So that is the Unit 1 review. Our test is Wednesday. Don't forget to get your Unit 1 review signed by a parent or guardian to make sure that you get that extra 5 points on the test. Also, make sure that you turn this in, even if you don't get the thing signed, get it signed. We will have the test on Wednesday, September 5th. And you will have a few minutes to study in class before class starts. If you have any questions, we are going to review on Tuesday, and I'll ask any questions over that, and I will have tutoring Tuesday morning before school. So if you have any questions, please come then or send me a message through Remind. I will be on vacation this weekend, so I may not be available, but if I am, I will try and help you as much as possible. So, have a great weekend. I hope this helped you guys a little bit, and enjoy your Labor Day. Bye, guys.